Shalom. Before I start, I want to give all honors and glories and praises to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, Bahashim Yahweh Kakodash, Yahweh, which is the one true name of the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, but his one true name is Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, who will well teach well, because those are the men who I've learned this truth from, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahashim Shai. Peace, blessings, salutations to the hopeful elect, and shalom to you, sincere brothers scattered abroad, pushing forth this word in truth and sincerity. I am the brother Mashiach Arazakar from the Servants of Yahweh, Yahweh Shai Camp, Las Vegas, Nevada branch. And pretty much this is going to be a quick hit. It's going to be Deuteronomy 49. Genesis 49, Salakia. Genesis 49 breakdown. I'll just keep going as long as I can through the Spirit. Lord willing us, that's edifying. This is Genesis 49 and 1. It says, "And Jacob called unto his sons and said, Gather yourselves together, that I may tell you what shall befall you in the last days." And that word befall, it means bakwaya, which means encounter. And that word last, it goes into the Hebrew word let me just off the top of the head, I don't want to say it wrongly. It means it means future prophecy. That word last there. But I don't in the Hebrew.
Strong's H319. Acharith.
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 Acharith, which means later time, prophetic for future time. See, so this is a future prophecy. And to top it off, we've been in the last days. We've been in the last days since the Messiah stepped foot on the scene. To prove that, this is Hebrews 1 and verse 2. It says, "Have in these last days spoken unto us by his Son." See? So when the Messiah first stepped foot on the scene, that was the beginning of the last days. It says, "Whom he have appointed heir of all things, by whom also he made the worlds." See, so we've been in the last days. We've been in the last days since the Messiah stepped foot on the scene. So again, we've been in the last days. Verse 2, it says, "Gather yourselves together, and hear, ye sons of Jacob, and hearken unto Israel your father." Verse 3, it says, Reuben is the so-called Seminole Indians today. That's the tribe of Reuben. All right, Reuben is the so-called Seminole Indians. That's the tribe of Reuben. It says, "Thou art my firstborn, my might, and the beginning of my strength, the excellency of dignity, and the excellency of power." Right? Because Reuben was the only Native American tribe that wasn't taken down by the U.S. troops. When you go into the Seminole Wars, the Seminole Wars, you had the first Seminole Wars, and you had the second Seminole Wars, you had the third Seminole Wars, which took place in northern Florida, right? And then you had the first Seminole Wars. I always get the dates mixed up, but Babak Shah. The first Seminole Wars took place in 1816. I think it was 1816 to 1835 or 1845, or that could be the second Seminole Wars. Let me check, Babak Shah. Let's get that real quick. So Salakia, you had the first Seminole Wars that took place in 1816 to 1818. That was the first Seminole War, as you can see right here. Then you had the second Seminole War that took place in 1832 to 1835. And then you had the third Seminole War that took place from 1855 to 1858. So this is the one I was thinking. I was thinking about the third Seminole Wars. All right, but the main ones that were the most severe was the Seminole Wars, and the first Seminole Wars and the second Seminole Wars. Now, the first Seminole Wars was started by General Andrew Jackson. And pretty much they tried to go in there to try to dominate, but they were in the swamps. So they couldn't find where the location were, where they were at. And pretty much they got ambushed, pretty much. They got ambushed and they got messed up. And then they tried to come back again the second time, and it didn't work. So pretty much the American troops, the U.S. troops tried to take the Seminole Indians down, and they couldn't do it. They tried to the point they were just like, you know what, fuck it. We're just going to let them be. We're going to leave them alone. So the tribe, the so-called Seminole Indians today are the tribe of Reuben. And Reuben was the only Native American tribe that wasn't taken down by the U.S. troops. This is verse 4, and it says, unstable as water, thou shalt not excel, because thou wentest up to thy father's bed. And pretty much Reuben, he slept with his father's concubine, which was Bilhah, right? It says, then defilest thou it, went up to my couch. So Reuben, he pretty much, he slept with his father's concubine. He broke the commandment, which you can go to, I think it's Genesis 35 and verse 22. Yeah. And it says, and it came to pass, when Israel dwelt in the land, that Reuben went and lied with Bilhah, his father's concubine. And Israel heard it. Now the sons of Jacob were 12. So Reuben, he broke the commandment. He slept with his father's concubine. But Reuben is the so-called Seminole Indians today. That's the tribe of Reuben. Genesis 49 and verse 5, it says, Simeon and Levi are brethren. So Simeon and Levi are brethren. They live on the same island, which is Hispaniola. You have Haiti, and you have the Dominican Republic, which lives on the same island, which is called Hispaniola. They live right next door to each other. Levi is the so-called Haitians, and Shimeon is the so-called Dominicans today. It says, our brethren, instruments of cruelty in their habitations. All right, and that cruelty, they do, a lot of voodoo and stuff, which is that secret. In verse 6, but that cruelty, they pretty much cut the heads off of the people of Suriname, and they take their skulls and they sell them to the voodoo priests in Haiti. Them Haitians is no joke. Verse 6, it says, oh, my soul, come thou into their secret. That secret is that voodoo. It says, unto their assembly, mine honor. It says, be not thou united, because the so-called Dominicans and Haitians, they're not united. They're against each other. They don't like each other. One nation is darker than the other, so they don't like one another. It says, for in their anger they slew a man, and in their self-will they dug down a wall. And this is going that slew a man and dug down a wall. That's pretty much going into when Jacob's daughter Dinah, she was raped by that Hamite, which was Shechem, and his father was Hamor, right? Jacob's daughter was raped by that Hamite. So Levi and Shimeon got really upset about it, and they went into that village and killed all the people in the village. Yeah, they got upset because that Hamite, he raped their sister. So that slew a man. That's what that's going into. I think it's I believe it's Genesis Salakia. Genesis 34. But I'm not going to read all of that. I'm just going to get to the point to where, but when you read this is when Shechem, the Hivite, right? He wind up raping Jacob's daughter, Dinah. She got raped, and that's in verse 2. It says he took her and lied with her and defiled her. He raped her. He raped Dinah. But when they found out, probably paraphrasing, just summing it up, Shimeon and Levi took it upon themselves to go into the city, into the village, and kill all the males. And then they took captive their children and their wives. Yes, Shimeon and Levi did that. And I'll get it right here. This is when, after they found out that their sister Dinah got raped, they got upset about that shit. And they went into the village and they killed everybody. They killed every single male in the village. And they took the daughters and the women captive. This is Genesis 34:25. And it came to pass on the third day, when they were sore, the two of the sons of Jacob, Shimeon and Levi, which Shimeon is the so-called Dominicans today, and Levi is the so-called Haitians today. Dinah's brethren took each man his sword and came upon the city boldly and slew all the males. See? They went into that village and killed all the males in that city. And after they killed all the males, they took their children and their wives captive after they killed them. After they killed all the males in that village, they took their daughters and women captive. It says that they slew Hamor and Shechem. Hamor is the father of Shechem. And Shechem, he was a Hamite. Shechem was the one that raped Dinah. Shechem and his father Hamor, which they were Hamites. It says, and they slew Hamor and Shechem, his son, see, with the edge of the sword, and took Dinah out of Shechem's house and went out. the sons of Jacob came upon the slain and spoiled the city, see, because they had defiled their sister. Because Shechem, who was a Hamite, he raped a sister. So they took it upon themselves, after they got circumcised and all of that. Because Jacob had Shechem, his father, and all of them to be circumcised. So as they were on the third day sore from, getting their circumcision, Shimeon and Levi took it upon themselves to go into the village and kill everyone in that village. And after they killed all the males in that village, they took their daughters and their wives captive. They did that because their sister got raped. They got angry about that. No, that's what it is. So pretty much through the spirit, them Haitians and the Dominicans are the wrong ones to piss off. They will fuck your ass up. This is, just in other words, sum it up. Those are the wrong ones you want to get upset, to make angry. It says, verse 27, the sons of Jacob came upon the slain and spoiled the city because they had defiled their sister. It says they took their sheep, their oxen, and their asses, and that which was in the city, and that which was in the field. Verse 29, and all of their wealth and all of their little ones. See, took their children. They took their children and their wives, took them captive. So they took those women. After they killed all the males in that village, they took their women. It says, and spoiled even all that was in the house. They took those women. Verse 30, it says, and Jacob said to Shimeon and Levi, ye have troubled me to make me to stink among the inhabitants of the land, among the Canaanites and the Perizzites, and I being few in number, they shall gather themselves together against me and slay me, and I shall be destroyed, I and my house. And they said, should he deal with our sister as with an harlot? Right? Because Shechem, who was a Hamite, he raped Dinah. He raped her. And the brothers found out about that, summoned all up. The 12 sons of Jacob found out about that shit. They were all angry, but the ones that were angry the most was Shimeon and Levi. They got angry. They took it upon themselves to go in there and they killed everybody in that city. So, those are the wrong ones you want to piss off is them Dominicans and them Haitians, man. Those are wrong ones you want to piss off because they have the spirit of anger. Read again, it says, for in their anger, see, they got the spirit of anger. Them Haitians and the Dominicans, those are wrong ones you want to fuck with. That's the tribe, the so-called Dominicans today are the Haitians. I mean, the so-called Dominicans today, not the Haitians. The so-called Dominicans today are Shimeon, the tribe of Shimeon. And the so-called Haitians today are the tribe of Levi. So Shimeon, the tribe of Shimeon is the so-called Dominicans, and the so-called Haitians today is the tribe of Levi. So those are the ones you don't want to fucking piss off, man. Those are Israelites you do not want to piss off. They will jack you up. It says, for in their anger they slew a man. And in there it says, for in their anger they slew a man. And in their self-will they dug down a wall. And that's what that's going into when you go into Genesis 34. They went in there, Dinah was raped by that Hamite. And Shimeon and Levi took it upon themselves to go into that city and kill all those males. So that's what that slew a man. And in their self-will, they dug down a wall. That's what that's talking about. Verse 7, it says, cursed be their anger, because they have the spirit of anger. For it was fierce, and their wrath, for it was cruel. I will divide them in Jacob and scatter them in Israel. So pretty much, Shimei and Levi, they live next door to each other on the same island, and they don't get along. They're not united. So when the Lord comes back, he's going to, everything will be fixed when the Lord come back through the Spirit, Lord willing. Verse 8, Judah is the so-called Negroes today. All right, so-called Negroes, a.k.a. African Americans. That's the tribe of Judah. It says, Judah, thou art he whom thy brethren shall praise. Everyone pretty much follows after Judah. Everyone pretty much imitates Judah. Judah is the top tribe. Everyone imitates Judah. To the rappers, Judah always has the fashion. For example, everyone follows and mimics Judah. To the rocking of the Jays, playing basketball, whatever it is, everyone imitates Judah. Judah is the top tribe. It says thy hand shall be in the neck of thine enemies. See? It says thy hand shall be in the neck of thine enemies, and that's a curse. Right? Their neck is in the hand of thy enemies. It says, thy father's children shall bow down before thee. See, thy father's children shall bow down before thee. All the tribes are going to bow down before Judah, because Judah is the top tribe. Judah is the top tribe. Yahushua springs out of the tribe of Judah. The Messiah springs out of the tribe of Judah. Verse 9, Judah is a lion's whelp from the prey. And who's the prey? Esau. Esau, Edom is the prey, because Judah got off on Esau. And I'm going to get that out when you go to 1 Kings 11 and verse 16. This is 1 Kings 11 and verse 15. For it came to pass, when David was in Edom, and Joab, the captain of hosts, was gone up to bury the slain, after he had smitten every male in Edom. So David and Joab was in the land of Edom for 6 months. And as they were in the land of Edom for 6 months, they killed all the males in Edom. Verse 6, it says, for 6 months did Joab remain there with all Israel, until he had cut off every male in Edom. So they were there out in the land of Edom for 6 months, and they killed all the male of Edom. So that prey is talking about Esau, and that's going to happen again. Esau is going to be that prey. It says, verse 9, Judah is a lion's whelp from the prey. My son, thou art gone up. He stooped down. He crouched as a lion and as an old lion. Right now, Judah is that old lion right now. He's getting killed left and right, etc. But the Lord is going to make him that new lion. He's going to be that new lion. He's going to be that new lion, which the Lord is going to rise him up, which is going into who shall rise him up. Yahweh Shemashai is going to rise up Judah. And once Judah get rised up, the Ephraim's going to get rised up. After Ephraim get rised up, then all the other tribes are going to follow after Judah. That happened many times with the Rodney King riots that took place in LA, right, in the 90s. You had the George Floyd thing. Once Judah rises up, all the other tribes are going to rise up. And that's in Zechariah 9 and 14. Let me get that. Zechariah 9 and 13. It's Zechariah 9 and 13. It says, when I have bent Judah for me, filled the bow with Ephraim, see, and rise up thy sons, O Zion, against thy sons, O Greece, and made thee as the sword of a mighty man. See, so once Judah rises up, then Ephraim's going to rise up. Once Ephraim rises up, then all the rest of the tribes are going to rise up. They're going to follow after Judah. Judah is the top tribe. Going down. So Yahweh Shemashai is going to rise up Judah. Verse 10, it says, the scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet, until Shiloh comes. Shiloh is Yahushua. That's who that's talking about. The Messiah, Yahushua. That's who Shiloh is. It says, and unto him shall the gathering of the people be. So the tribes are going to be, the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel is going to be gathered under Yahushua. Yahushua is going to do the gathering of the Israelites. They're going to be gathered under Yahushua. Verse 11, it says, binding his fowl onto the vine, and his ass as a colt onto the choice vine. He washed his garments in wine, and his clothes in the blood of grapes. And this is talking about the Messiah. This is a prophecy right here, which is given by Zechariah the prophet. When you go to Zechariah 9 and 9. This is Zechariah 9 and 9. And it says, rejoice greatly, O daughter of Zion. It says, shout, O daughter of Jerusalem. Behold, thy king cometh unto thee. He is just and having salvation, lowly and riding upon an ass, and upon a colt. It says a colt, the fowl of an ass. See, this is a prophecy given by Zechariah the prophet. See? Talking about the Messiah. So when you go to Matthew, I think it's Matthew, I think it's 21, and you read verse 1 down to 7, it goes into that same prophecy, which was given by Zechariah the prophet. That's talking about the Messiah riding on that ass, and that next to that colt. That colt is a baby donkey. An ass is a donkey, and a colt is a baby donkey. Matthew 21 and 1. And when they drew nigh unto Jerusalem, and were come to Bethphage, unto the Mount of Olives, then sent Yahushua 2 disciples. So Yahushua sent 2 of his disciples, and he commanded them to go into the village and get unloosen the donkey and the colt, which is a baby donkey, and bring it to him. It says, verse 2, saying unto them, go into the village over against you, and straightway ye shall find an ass tied, and a colt with her. A colt is a baby donkey. It says, loose them and bind them unto me. See, bring them unto me. Verse 3, and if any man say aught unto you, ye shall say, the Lord have need of them, and straightway he will send them. Verse 4, all this was done that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken by the prophet, saying, see, Zechariah the prophet. We just read that in Zechariah 9:9. This is talking about Zechariah the prophet, where he said that the Messiah, pretty much was riding on that horse and that donkey. I mean, that donkey and that baby, right next to the donkey and the baby donkey. He's riding on that donkey, which that's going into. I said horse, Salakia, the donkey. Matthew 21:5, it says, tell ye the daughters of Zion, behold, thy king cometh unto thee, meek, sitting upon an ass, and a colt, the foal of an ass. Right? We read that in Zechariah 9:9. This was a prophecy given by Zechariah the prophet, which was mentioned going back to Daniel 49. Right? Genesis 49. Genesis 49. Salakia. It says, verse 6, and the disciples went and did as Yahushua commanded them. Verse 7, and brought the ass and the colt. See, an ass is a donkey, adult donkey, and a colt is a baby donkey, and put on them their clothes, and they sent him thereon. So that's all talking about the Messiah riding on that donkey. That's what that's going into. That's talking about the Messiah. That's mentioning Yahushua. This is why we say the Messiah is mentioned all through the scriptures. You Old Testament Israelites, the Messiah is mentioned all through the Bible. That's why you can't say the Messiah is not in the Old Testament, because he is. He's mentioned all through the scriptures. Because in that case, you got to answer, if the Messiah is not in the Old Testament, break down Genesis 49:11 and 12. Because the Messiah is mentioned there. This is talking about the Messiah. Verse 12, it says, his eyes shall be red with wine. The Messiah drank a lot of wine. He was a wine bibber. Look up wine bibber. For those of you that don't know, look up a wine bibber. It's a person that drinks a lot of alcohol, heavy alcohol. That's a wine bibber. The Messiah was a wine bibber. He drank a lot of wine. It says his eyes shall be red with wine, and his teeth white with milk. Now, a lot of Jake's thinking that it's talking about his actual teeth. It's not. That white with milk is talking about the sincere milk of the word, which we can get that in I think it's 2 Peter 2:2, or it might be 1 Peter 2:2. Yeah, 1 Peter 2:2. 1 Peter 2:2, it says, as newborn babes desire the sincere milk of the word. So that's what that white, where it says his teeth white with milk, that's what it's talking about. It's talking about the word, this truth, this word. It says, as newborn babes desire the sincere milk of the word, that ye may grow thereby. So that's what that's talking about. The sincere milk of the word. That's what his teeth white with milk is pretty much representing. The sincere milk of the word. It says Zebulon shall dwell at the haven of the sea, and he shall be for a haven of ships, and his border shall be unto Zidon. Zebulon is pretty much the Panamanians and Guatemalans. All right, where it says shall dwell at the haven of the sea, and he shall be for a haven of ships. That's talking about the Panama Canal, because you have ships that go in between there. There's ships, they take shortcuts. That's the fastest way. So they go through the border of the Panama Canal. The Panama Canal. So that's who Zebulon is. Zebulon is the Panamanians and Guatemalans. That's Zebulon. It says, verse 14, Issachar is a strong ass couching down between two burdens. And the two burdens is South America and North America. Those are the two burdens. And Issachar is the so-called Hispanics, a.k.a. Mexicans. That's the tribe of Issachar today. It says that he saw the rest was good, and the land that it was pleasant, and bowed his shoulder to bear, and became a servant unto tribute. Issachar does a lot of work. They love to work. They can work 4 or 5 jobs. They love working. That's just their spirit of Issachar. Issachar is the so-called Hispanics, aka Mexicans. That's the tribe of Issachar. And they love to work. It's just in their spirit. They love working. They can do 3 jobs. Dan shall be judged in his people as one of the tribes of Israel. And the tribe of Dan, through the spirit Dan is pretty much mixed all into Israel. Through faith, we don't know who Dan is. Dan is pretty much mixed all in the midst of Israel. Verse 17, Dan shall be a serpent by the way, and adder in the path that biteth the horse heels, so that his rider shall fall backward. Verse 18, I have waited for thy salvation, O Lord. Gad, a troop shall overcome him, but he shall overcome at the last. And Gad is the so-called Native American Indians, Northern American Indians, all right, Native Americans. All right, that's the tribe of Gad, the so-called Native American Indians. All right, the troops shall overcome them. We were taken down by the U.S. troops. When you go into the Queen Anne Wars, King Philip Wars, Wounded Knee, Shed of Tears, Indian Wars. There's so many wars you could look up. The Corneal Wars, the Corneal Indian Wars. There's so many wars you could look up. They were taken down by the U.S. troops. But Gad shall overcome at the last, though. It says, verse 20, out of Asher his bread shall be fat, and he shall yield royal dainties. And Asher is the so-called Colombians, and I always get mixed up. The so-called Colombians. The Colombians is Asher. Asher is the Colombians. The Colombians in I'm trying to think, but I know it's the Colombians. That's Asher. It says verse 21, Naphtali is a hind let loose, he giveth goodly words. And Naphtali is Chile and the Uragians. That's Naphtali. And it says Joseph is a fruitful bow, even a fruitful bow by a well whose branch run over the wall. Joseph is the so-called the tribe of Joseph is the so-called Puerto Ricans today. But you also have Manasseh, which comes out of the tribe of Joseph. So you have Ephraim and Manasseh. So Ephraim is the tribe of Joseph, which is the Puerto Ricans today. And you have Manasseh, which is also the Cubans. But we're going to get that. We're going to read this in the first. It says, Joseph is a fruitful bow, even a fruitful bow by a well, whose branches run over the wall. It says, the archers have surely grieved him, and shot at him, and hated him. Verse 24, but his bow abode in strength, and the arms of his hands were made strong by the hands of the mighty power of Jacob. From thence is the shepherd, the stone of Israel. Verse 25, even by the power of thy father, who shall help thee, and by the Almighty, who shall bless thee with blessings of heaven above, blessings of the deep that lieth under, blessing of the breast and of the womb. Get to the main point. It says, thy blessings of thy father prevailed above the blessings of my progenitors unto the uttermost bound of the everlasting hills. They shall be on the head of Joseph, and on the crown of the head of him that was separate from his brethren, right? Because he became governor of Egypt. His brothers sold him, and he became governor of Egypt. But we're going to go to Genesis 48 and go into Joseph's sons, because Jacob claimed Joseph's sons as his own. He took Joseph's sons and claimed them as his own children. That's why you have Ephraim and Manasseh as the 12 tribes, because Ephraim and Manasseh were Joseph's sons, but Jacob, their grandfather, took Ephraim and Manasseh and claimed him as his own children. And that's what we're getting into. It's Genesis 48:1. And it came to pass after these things that one told Joseph, behold, thy father is sick. And he took with him his two sons, Manasseh and Ephraim. See, you have Manasseh and Ephraim, which were the sons of Joseph. Ephraim and Manasseh are the sons of Joseph, but Jacob took Joseph's two sons, Manasseh and Ephraim, and claimed them as his own, which they make up the 12 tribes of Israel. Verse 12, it says, and one told Jacob and said, behold, thy son Joseph cometh unto thee. And Israel strengthened himself and sat upon the bed. Verse 3. And Jacob said unto Joseph, God Almighty appeared unto me at Luz in the land of Canaan, and blessed me. Verse 4. And said unto me, Behold, I will make thee fruitful, and multiply thee. I will make thee a multitude of people, and will give this land to thy seed after thee, for an everlasting possession. Verse 5. And now thy two sons, Ephraim and Manasseh, which were born unto thee in the land of Egypt before I came unto thee into Egypt, are mine. So he took Joseph's sons, Ephraim and Manasseh, and claimed them as his own. That's why they're part of the 12 tribes of Israel. They are part of the 12 tribes of Israel because Jacob took Joseph's two sons and claimed them as his own. So Ephraim and Manasseh is a part of the 12 tribes. They make up of the 12 tribes. It says, unto thee in the land of Egypt, before I came unto thee into Egypt, are mine. See, as Reuben and Shimeon, they shall be mine. So he took Joseph's sons and claimed them as his own. That's where you get Ephraim and Manasseh. Ephraim is the so-called Puerto Ricans today. That's the tribe of Ephraim. And Manasseh is the so-called Cubans today. Those are the sons of Joseph, but Jacob took Joseph's sons, Ephraim and Manasseh, and claimed them as his own. They are part of the 12 tribes. They are part of the 12 tribes. So that's Ephraim and Manasseh. Now, getting back to the main point. Where was I at? Benjamin. Here it is. It says, Benjamin shall raven as a wolf. In the morning he shall devour the prey. At night he shall divide the spoil. Benjamin is the so-called Jamaicans today. You have the Jamaicans, you have the Trinidad, you have Belizeans, right? Those are the tribe of Benjamin, right? So that's the tribe of Benjamin today, is the so-called Jamaicans, the West Indians. Verse 28, all these are the 12 tribes of Israel, and this is it that their father spake unto them, and blessed them, everyone according to his blessing, and blessed them. And he charged them, and said unto them, I am to be gathered unto my people, bury me with my father in the cave that is in the field of Ephron the Hittite. So this is pretty much going into Jacob, where he wants to be buried, because he's speaking his last moments before he passed away. So he's telling his sons where he want to be buried at. It says, verse 30, in the cave that is in the field of Machpelah, which is before Mamre, in the land of Canaan, which Abraham bought with the field of Ephron the Hittite for a possession of a burying place. Verse 31, there they buried Abraham and Sarah his wife. There they buried Isaac and Rebekah his wife. And there I buried Leah. Verse 32, the purchase of the field and of the cave that is therein was from the children of Heth. Verse 33, and when Jacob had made an end of commanding his sons, he gathered up his feet unto the bed and yielded up the ghost, and was gathered unto his people. So Jacob passed away. Israel passed away, which was Jacob. He passed away. So, hey, Lord willing, this is edifying. I want to give all honors and glories and praises to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Mohawa Kakodash, and double honors to the elders and apostles, a great millstone, who will well teach well, because those are the men who I learned this truth from, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai. Peace, blessings, salutations to the hopeful elect, and shalom to you, sincere brother scattered abroad, pushing forth this word in truth and sincerity. I am the brother Mashiach Arazakah from the servants of Yahweh Yahushai Camp, Las Vegas, Nevada branch. And Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. Till next time I say, shalom.